you can go onto their websites, look out for careers in the UK, and look out for graduate programs. So most of their deadlines is going to be November or December of this year. And that program is intended to start in the next October anyways. I'm not sure how many of them are really going forward with the graduate programs this year, obviously because of COVID and everything. But I'm sure there are many. There are many, especially for taxation. I know Ernst and Young. I mean, all the big fours basically they go for it. And Airbus has an amazing graduate program. So yeah, so I would say go forward with all of them. Start looking for all of them on their website from now. I'm sure the Cranfield Careers would be dropping you emails in a couple of months, and they would tell you in detail about all of these. Yeah, and then so we look for LinkedIn, we look for graduate programs, and yeah, you can always look out for jobs on different websites. So there's Indeed.com, there's Read.com, there's an amazing website called CV Library. So which advertises jobs. So you cannot start working until you graduate. Yeah, but then it is really good to get an understanding of the market, what jobs are coming out and what are the skills required for that job. So you can really start that from now, or maybe come down to the UK, have a bit of your own time, move around, see how things are, and maybe by January or maybe after March, when you are like seriously looking for a job, because in 6 months you'll be graduating after your thesis. So yeah, it's totally up to you. But then there's different ways in different ways you can do different things.
That's totally like obviously it depends. Like it's better to start it early, like right from India you can start it off, so that by the end of your graduation at least you can apply to as many as job as you want. So definitely it's advisable. Yeah, so moving on, Ajinkya, to the next question. It is like employers look for a candidate who is well versed in the role or even the show of will to learn things. So can they get a job?
Sorry, could you please repeat that?
Yeah, sure. So employers look for a candidate who is well versed in the role. Suppose for SCM, people are going without any kind of experience. So how far it is better for them to get a job, or it is better to learn things rather than applying at the first place?
Okay. Yeah. So jobs are basically designed in that sense, I would say. So
Just
right.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. Okay. So jobs are basically designed in that sense. So if you do not really have any experience in supply chain management, you'd obviously be applying for an entry-level position. If you have, I don't know, if you've been the director of a company for 20 years or so, you'd obviously be looking for something equivalent here. So that course is just an addition of knowledge to your current profile. It would pretty much be the same if you, if you do not have any background, any real life experiences of supply chain management. I would really recommend these graduate programs for you, firstly. And with that kickstart that you get, in 2 years or 3 years, you would be looking for more senior roles, and that's how your career really progresses. But then it's not like you would not get a job if you do not have any experience. Yeah. So my core experience was into engineering. Yeah, so I used to design interface microcontrollers and microprocessors and things like that. So I was in a very technical role back in India. Coming here, I kind of got a part-time job that really helped me understand the world of supply chain and how really you can manage retail supply chains, food retail supply chains. So that was an added advantage to me. But then the sector I work now is completely different again. It's railways and the public sector. So it's completely different. Your skill transfer or the knowledge transfer, as we call it in India, definitely helps you moving up the ladder. But then if if you are very adamant at the very beginning, saying, I want a senior management role, no company is going to hire you because you do not have that experience. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it's a follow-up question, like it's from my side only. Like you talked about the internship part-time. So can you please name the company name so that people who are here so that they can also get to know about it?
So there's there's a franchisee. So basically, Subway restaurants. Yeah. They work in this franchisee business model. So there was a franchisee here in Bedfordshire. I applied to one of their stores first, and then I kind of worked my way around it. I saw how their operations really work, and I convinced my boss to offer me a pay rise and do some better work for him. I said, mate, I'm pursuing an MSc. I can do far more than just working in your operations. So which is how I kind of work part time as an operations associate rather than just a sandwich artist or something of that sort. So you
Yeah.
can always look for jobs like these. You can, especially for supply chain management students, there's plenty of warehouse jobs available, which would then absorb you as maybe their team leaders or their shift managers, which is a very good pay, I must say. Yeah. So if you start as an operative with them, work part time with them for like 8 or 9 months, you are bound to be at least a team leader after you graduate. I mean, that's kind of one of the secure job options here.
Yeah.
I mean, warehouses here are massive, and then they would always want somebody internal. So if you're already into it and you've got your degree, so that's like a very secure job option, I would say. And
Definitely.
even for marketing students and everything, there's so many customer service representative that's opened up these days because of the virtual working and everything. There is so many IT service desk analysts and assistants roles that have opened up. So it is just about the way you take up an opportunity right now and work your way around it to make it the best fit for yourself.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, let's move to the next question. What are the skills required apart from MS Excel?
For supply chain management, I would say, so there's two different bits of your MSc first. Yeah, let's talk about that. So the first bit of your MSc is going to be around research. So your research skills, Cranfield is going to bombard with you all of them. Don't worry. So Cranfield is going to make you well equipped with all of your research skills. So be it qualitative analysis, quantitative analysis, Cranfield is going to talk you through each and every detail of it. They're going to make you by heart all of it, I would say. Yeah, Cranfield is famous for its research. Secondly, now coming to analytics, you need a bit of knowledge of probability, some statistics, because that's how analytics work. You should be familiar with basic concepts of mathematics. I mean, come on, that's all basic stuff, I would say. Your basic maths, a bit of linear algebra, if making those equations x plus y equals to 20, or blah blah blah, those things. Uh, Apart from these, let's say, so you should be proficient in your MS Office, basically complete of it. So you should know how Teams work, because I assume that even after a year, we might be working virtually, given the current scenario. So yeah, that is an added advantage. You should know Teams, you should know Word, you should know PowerPoint. PowerPoint is a very crucial tool for you all, because you'll be delivering presentations, you'll be talking people through your ideas, you'll be defining their strategy, and and you need to really prove it to them that this strategy works. There is no alternative for you other than this strategy. So those are the basic office tools, I would say. Like I recommended, if you are really interested, you can always go and learn Python. You can always go do a couple of courses on Coursera around operation analytics that would walk you through SPSS, that's statistical process control, and things like that. You need statistics for Six Sigma again, which is a very hot topic right now.
Yeah.
You need a bit of understanding around sustainability. So the United Nations, they have given those sustainable development goals, which is a very hot topic again here, because they look at it as something that is very paramount. You would not really see this in India. I mean, companies don't really bother about their CSR, but then here they pay attention to all of that. So these are a few good to know chat bits, I would say. Yeah,
Yeah.
not really skills, but then these are a few good things that you should know so that you know the business culture here. Um, for there's not really great softwares that you need to learn. There's not really, I mean, I don't know. If you're interested, you can obviously learn machine learning. You can learn everything that's there in that Industry 4.0 bubble, but then it's not required.
So, Ajinkya, there is a follow-up question in the chat box. Like, is it required to learn Tableau or Power BI?
Uh, so I would come back to the basics again. So if you know Excel, if you know data, how to visualize your data in Excel,
Mm-hmm.
Tableau is not really very relevant to you then. If you can visualize your data very well in Tableau, in Excel, sorry, Tableau is like just an addition to it. Tableau makes your life easier. Or Power BI as well. It would make your own life easier. I mean, there's commendable.
Just a second.
Yeah, very good. So
Yeah.
Power BI, obviously, there's great potential to Power BI as to what things you can do and what you can't. But then if you can do all of them in Excel, because your data sizes would be considerably smaller, it would just be a good addition to your CV, I would say. It's a good to have, but then unless you are really into that analytics role, it's not really required. It makes your life easier, but then it's not like your life would not progress without that.
Exactly. So yeah, like we got an idea about that. So let's move to the next question. How good is Cranfield's career services department for SC?
Hmm. Yeah, fine, I would say. Yeah, I mean, there's few amazing colleagues there who would really guide you through all of this process. There's amazing resources that Cranfield uses. There's a CV editor that they give you free of charge. There's a LinkedIn reviewer that they give you free of charge. And obviously, there's those career counselors who would walk you through your CV, who would give you critique on your CV, who would, they make your life easier, I would say. Yeah. You can have one-to-one appointments with them to discuss your cover letters, maybe to discuss a specific job description you really want to apply and how you can tailor your CV according to that. They're very friendly people, I would say. As long as you know, I mean, as long as you're not jumping in for just a useless chat with them, because obviously it's their job. So they're very friendly people. They would help you through each and every thing that you really struggle with.
Yeah, that's a fair answer to that. Let's move to the next question. How has COVID impacted the job search and opportunities for Indians?
Well, I wouldn't really be able to comment about Indians. I mean, to be honest, it doesn't really make a difference what nationality you are from right now, because since Brexit has happened, uh, Europeans who have not ever been to the UK are same as Indians, as Chinese, are same as people from any third world country. Yeah. Uh, so we are all in the same boat, be it Europeans, be it Indians. The employability here in the UK has spiked up from the last lockdown, which is surprising. Many
Yeah.
new employees have come up in the UK, which is a very promising sign because the government has really had amazing policies right now. The government was quite paying 80% of your salaries for a couple of months back in the first lockdown, so which was really good.
Yeah.
Uh, so I would say the job market has really grown this year, despite the lockdowns and everything, which is surprising. But I mean, that's how it is because right now businesses really want to get back to normal, and which is why they've had to hire so many people, because there's so many other things that have opened up after COVID. Businesses have realized the importance of their local sourcing, the importance of having their right balance in global sourcing and local sourcing, about how globalization is not really the only answer to all of their business problems right now. So yes, businesses are growing, so are the jobs. um, and UK, I mean, the biggest sector in UK is the retail sector. So the retail sector,
Mm-hmm.
sorry, somebody not on mute? Is there something they want to ask? Okay. So
Yeah.
so the retail sector, it has grown. It has grown like crazy. I mean, because since everybody was home and people were ordering from home, they needed more people in their operations to have those things delivered to their home. Just a basic example. So yeah, I mean, jobs are good, jobs are on the rise. But what I would say, a word of caution is, so are the Indian students on rise. So you should be on your toes to secure a job.
Yeah, definitely. That's a relief. So yeah, let's move to the next question. Yeah, what is the effect of Brexit with respect to the new job opportunities and visa?
Uh, so I think I kind of touched on it. So after Brexit, they have any European that was not in this country is going to be treated the same as anybody else from India or say Pakistan or any other country. So Brexit is a very massive bubble which they are still trying to figure out. Just today, when Boris Johnson is in the G7 meeting, European Union has threatened to use their leverages against Northern Ireland and things like that. It's a very political subject. But then it doesn't really make a great difference to us, because
Exactly.
you have a valid work right and you have a valid degree. It does not really make a difference to you right now. You come here, you study, you can obviously secure a job. Uh, People who are affected by Brexit would be the ones who don't want to stay in the country, uh, or the ones who have not really been in the country long enough, or maybe who have not legally entered the country. That's all about it. So there's not nothing to be really worried about the whole Brexit that's happened, or there's nothing to be very optimistic about the Brexit that's happened.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, we have next question coming in. That is, how good is alumni network? Like, does the alumni network have any sort of interaction or meetings in the university itself?
Hmm. So I think from for our batch, it was very different, yeah, because 6 months we were into lectures and everything, and then when the thesis starts, normally all these things happen for supply chain management, because the supply chain course is very intensive. Same as for marketing, I would say. Uh, Masters in management, if somebody is really pursuing MIM, or some of the courses in engineering, I think that's what the SATM or something, the school of SATM, I think that's what they call it. So those people, they get ample chances to interact with their alumni within the first 6 months. So I know for the students of Masters in Management, the university organized a tour to London, wherein they got to meet many alumni there, so which was really good. Many alumni from different backgrounds. Unfortunately for us, it was cancelled, because for obvious reasons, because the university was kind of struggling to shift everything online and to get us to do our thesis properly, making sure our experience was not really, belittled by COVID. Apart from what university really does is, university then, even if you have it on your LinkedIn that you studied in Cranfield, it is going to open a very nice network of Cranfield alumni to you, so you can always have a personal interaction with anyone you know there. And the professors, if you talk to the professors, about interacting with alumni. They might be able to point you in the right direction depending on your course. So the deputy director of my course, he kind of guided us as to how you can interact with alumni. He kind of mentioned a few names, and obviously we all do our research before getting there. So alumni can always guide you. They can always tell you, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. I tried this failed, this did not work, this worked out well. But then it's not like they're going. I mean, it's not like they are not going to do your course for you.
Yeah, that's
So,
true.
so they can always be a very good point of contact to seek some guidance or to seek some clarification. If you know somebody who works in a company and they've got a role advertised, and if you see the person is pretty much into the same role, you can ask him, how has the role been to you? I mean, what is the work culture? How is the company like? How willing are they to really sponsor? I mean, not really sponsor for your case. How willing are they to hire somebody who does not know the UK culture, and things like that? They're a very good resource. All the alumni I've interacted with, uh, them being Asian, them being American, them being British, they being European, they're all fantastic. They would all be willing to help you because of the Cranfield banner that you're under.
Yeah, that fairly answered the question. So yeah, next let's move to the next question. For those from non-SCM background, in
Mhm.
this 4 months, would you suggest to do any courses or certifications before joining the course?
Like I said, completely depending on your interest, you can pursue all the courses you want. You can sit in front of your laptop for like all the 120 days you've got. Uh, it definitely helps you in terms of your knowledge. It adds value to your CV, but that is not going to be the end of your life. So even if you decide to enjoy these 3 months as a sabbatical, it's fine. Even if you decide to start your course a bit more earlier and take up some additional courses all by yourself, it is absolutely fine. I mean, we all can. I mean, obviously, we all can take up a wee bit of courses here and there. You can, brush up your skills on a couple of things. You can do things like that rather than spending all of your time in front of a screen. That's what I would prefer. So, it's not end of your life if you are not from the supply chain management background. You are still going to learn everything that everyone else does. And the good part about not being from a supply chain background is, I would say, you're a blank canvas. At Cranfield, you would probably be interacting with people who've had 10 years or 15 years or 20 years of experience, either in procurement or logistics or operations or things like that. So you'd be a very blank canvas who would then be painted by experiences of such highly experienced professionals. So you all learn together, you all network, and you all discuss things. So which kind of puts you up not to maybe their level of experience, but definitely somewhere matching to maybe 40 or 50% of their expertise as well.
Yeah, definitely. So the next question is a bit interesting. Like, is Indian SCM experience valid in UK? Like, if somebody has some kind of experience in supply chain in India, is it
Mm-hmm.
valid in UK?
Yes, of course, of course. I mean, supply chains are not really very different in any aspect. I mean, it's the same model as you see in India or in China or in Japan or in the States. It's pretty much the same. What I would say is the Indian supply chain management logics, or jugaad, what you call it, is a very good thing to bring up to your employer if you can um, if you can leverage that, saying this is one of the tricks I developed and which saved the company over, I don't know, whatever amount, or it improved the process like this. It's very good for you. It's really very good for you. It's pretty much the same logic, I would say. I mean, supply chains are not very different from what you see in India.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, there are some questions coming up in the chat box. I'll try to ask that again. Could you please share your interview experience as a fresh graduate in UK?
So this is one of my interesting and favorite ones. Yeah. So I've had over 17 interviews, 17. This was my 14th interview, the one I secured a role for. And I did apply to something close to 3,000 jobs in the UK. So after that 3,000 jobs, applying all of them, I managed to get about those 17 interviews. And one of them really offered me a job. So it's not very easy. Different interviewers would try to see different things in you. I have been told that you are overqualified for this job. I have been told that we are looking for someone who knows our culture, who knows the UK very well, geographically as well. I have been told most of them is also we cannot sponsor a visa for you. So
Yeah.
It's not a very sweet picture that I would really like to paint in front of you. There is struggle in there. There is honest reviews about yourself. You need to do that self-study on your profile, on your own self, as to how you're presenting yourself, how are you delivering your own skills to the employer, your prospective employer, I would say. So the experience would be pretty much same as to what you might have in India for an interview. It's just that these people are far more polite than they are in India, and they do not give you feedback onto your face. That mostly comes in an email, so it is less brutal, I would say, at times.
Exactly.
Uh, but then, yeah, the people are very friendly and they're open to a discussion. So even if you do not know something in an interview, I would say you try and walk the interviewer through a process you might think might be correct, but you're not very sure of it. So they do promote innovation. They do promote that you're not really a book that knows everything. You're not basically an encyclopedia. They all know all of that, which is something which is expected in India, I would say. So yeah, if you get to the interview stage of a job, it is very good. It is very good to network with them. It is very good to have an analysis of your own self, your own skills.
Okay. So yeah, there is one more follow-up question to that. Like in addition to that, how did you convince the employer to sponsor a tier two?
Well, to all the employees that I tried to convince to give me a visa, they did not offer me a job because they did not have the budget. To Network Rail, I didn't really have to convince them to sponsor me a visa, since it was, I mean, the the hiring managers, they really liked my profile. They really liked the work I have been doing, and they really liked my skills. And I did not mention about visa sponsorship until the end of the interview, which is where they ask you a question: what is your status in the UK? So which is when I told them that I'm on a tier 4 visa. So the hiring manager asked me that would that require you a visa sponsorship later on? I said yes, it would require me. So he said that's fine, that's no problem at all. And I think 4 weeks later, I got a call regarding the confirmation that yes, I've been shortlisted. If I wanted to move forward with the position, they would be happy to sponsor me a visa and everything. So um, if your hiring manager really likes you, really likes your profile, visas and everything is not a problem. Again, for you guys, it's not a problem at all.
Yeah, exactly. So there is one more question. How easy or difficult it is to get into a consulting space after doing this MSc, like roles into supply chain consultant and etc.
How easy is it to be in a consulting role?
Yeah, supply chain consultant kind of thing.
So, so the consultancy industry also works in different tiers, I would say. So, as an entrant to the consulting industry, you would be entering as an analyst, then you would be promoted to an associate, then you would be promoted to a consultant, a senior consultant. Um, maybe a principal later on, which is like the highest form of a consultant is a principal. So depending on your experience, depending on the companies that are into consulting that you apply to, it is I mean, it is totally up to you how you want to take it. If you have 5 years of experience in sourcing or procurement, you can directly apply to associate consultant or things like that, or maybe even a consultant if you have zero experience in, I mean, zero industry experience in supply chain management. I would say go for the analyst roles. So it opens a different avenue to you. So basically what an analyst does is he does all the number crunching for their senior managers and senior people to build business cases on it. That's how consultancies work in it. So with your experience, it is completely dependent on how you want to take it. So if you've got amazing experience, go for the higher roles. If you've got no experience, go for the entry-level roles. It is very rewarding to be a consultant because they pay you well.
Yeah, exactly. So, Ajinkya, there is one specific question to ERP. So, any specific ERP we should specialize on, like SAP, MM, or MS 365 Dynamics, or Oracle SCM? So, according to you, which is the most popular ERP used by UK businesses?
So, Dynamics, I'm not sure about Dynamics. I know people do CRM in Dynamics. I'm not sure if it's an ERP or have they developed any ERP solution around that. SAP MM would be the materials management, depending on what you join. I mean, if you join a company that wants you to be their sourcing lead or their sourcing analyst, SAP Ariba is your go-to place. Okay. So if you are into manufacturing company that wants you to source parts from vendors, or that wants you to basically, sorry, not source parts, but then be in their operations and inventory management, then SAP MM would be your go-to. So if you're not trained on it, don't bother. It is good to know all the SAP modules that are there. It is good to know what SAP offers as different business solutions. But then it's not the end of your life if you do not know any of them. Cranfield gives you access to one of the SAP modules. I'm just trying to recall the name. It just escaped me. Sorry. So Cranfield does give you a bit of training on one of the modules, but it's not very crucial to find a job that you need to know about SAP or the ERPs. It is absolutely fine if you know how Oracle DBMS or Oracle SAP Oracle ERP systems work. That's absolutely fine. If you do not know, it is absolutely fine. It's never going to be a deciding factor for you to secure a role, because it's expensive, I would say. And even after getting a certification, if you do not have experience on it, it's no good.
That makes sense. So moving on to the next question, how easy or difficult it is for a student who has experience in his family run business to land up in a job in UK? Do the UK employers consider this as a full-time work even?
I mean, yeah, why not? I mean, as long as you're really delivering value in your family business, you would deliver value in any other business.
Exactly.
Yeah, and nobody really knows what have you been doing in India or your previous job. So I'll be being very honest with you guys. Don't take it otherwise. But then, yeah, that's the fact. Nobody really knows what you've been doing on your past jobs. So it's all about the way you present your skills, your current skills in your CV and to your employer. That's how it's going to go forward. I mean, it doesn't matter if you've been working in your family business. If you've really been a good manager there, or a good whatever position you've been holding, it's fine. It's a very good addition.
Exactly. Yeah, so one more interesting question we have, like one with a work experience of 5 years. in product management will be considered as a fresher or experienced with just 1 year of SME for master course?
I wouldn't say you would be completely considered a fresher because there are many product manager roles that have opened up in the UK. Amazon hires like crazy for product management and project management in the UK. I think this course would complement your experience and it would not be the other way around. So for a fresh graduate, it would be that this course would really be his USP. But then for somebody with 5 years of experience, this course would really add to that experience rather than this experience adding to the course. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So it would be good to see how senior roles you get here. I know many people who actually get senior roles, so not be worried about it. There might be a bit of struggle to really match your previous experience to the current needs in the UK. But then I'm sure with this great amount of experience, you'll do well.
Yeah, that's true. So there are a few more questions coming up in the chat box. So the first one is, if references hold significant value in UK, how useful would a reference from a past employer be effective in getting me a job?
I'm not very sure because from all that I've seen here, there's a very straightforward process that you need to follow. Even if you have references from a previous employer, it is fine. Even if you do not, it is fine. There's a very straightforward process. You apply on a company's website, and that's how you get in. So if you do not qualify the first few screening processes, your reference would not even be considered.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I would say. There's somebody who's raised their hand there, I could see.
Yeah, just a second. Let me see. Yeah, it's Ronit.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
All right. So I wanted to ask, I gladly missed most of the webinar till now, but I wanted to ask you this question. How sustainable, what is the percentage of sustainability in this current strategy with the company that you're working? And how much of an importance do you see the company putting into that? Furthermore, what are your expansion plans at the moment and how do you seem to go about it?
Okay, sustainably as in, are you talking about job security or what's it?
No, I'm talking about the company strategy and the kind of routes that the entire company is focusing on at the moment. What kind of finance is, sorry, let me rephrase this. How much percentage of finance will be affected if the company started, making the entire rail journeys more sustainable, pushed on more sustainable activities? So do you see any of those charter happening in the company at the moment?
Well, I would say it is too early for me to comment on that. But since I've recently joined them, I did work for them during my MSc thesis, but then that was not really rail side of it that I worked back then. Now I'm pretty much working on the rail side of it. But then since it is a public limited company, it is highly regulated by the government and the Department for Transport. So the finance does not really matter as long as it is delivering value and it is, making their vision of getting everybody safe home every day even more achievable. So I think there is enough funding that the UK government really puts forth to brilliant business ideas, even within the network rail, and with their targets and with their realistic getting their timelines, I think they are doing fine.
Thank you for the answer.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Ronit. So there are one or two more questions in the chat box. Has Brexit affected the UK logistics?
Has Brexit affected UK logistics? Yes, obviously it has, because now you need different clearances as to what you require to uh, take your lorry from UK to the EU and the other way as well. Uh, but then I'm not really very sure as to in what aspect are we talking about, because there's different operational changes, there's different planning that is required, because when Brexit really happened, I know there were lorries queued up on one of their ports for like 3 or 4 days just to get the entry clearance. So yes, the operations has changed terrifically from Brexit, but I'm not really sure as to what context really the question fits in.
So they have mentioned it like, is it true UE business owners are avoiding the UK and preferring Rotterdam as an alternative?
I'm not really very sure about the question then. Sorry. Maybe I'm not the best person to answer.
Okay, no worries. Let's move on to the last two questions we have. Yeah, working part time in warehouses during the course helps one while searching for jobs roles in logistics and SCM.
Yes, definitely. Like I said, these warehouses they are massive. They tend to hire people internally. So somebody who knows their operations very well, who knows how picking works, how packing works, how put away works, that person would always stand a higher chance of securing a team leader or a shift manager role than somebody who's maybe just a fresh graduate. So yes, if you are into their operations, if you've been working with them for a decent amount of time, you stand a greater chance at securing a job with them or any other similar industry.
Yeah, definitely. So the last question of the session, because we are moving to the end of the session, it's already 1 hour. So is it necessary to have PMP or CAPM certificate or previous project experience can be counted?
No, it's not necessary. It's not the end of your life, like I would say.
Okay.
It's good to have. It's very good to have, I would say. If you have the relevant experience, go for PMP. If you just want to explore a bit of project management, if you've worked within project environments, go for a CIPM. Or there's this Association for Project Management Institute or something. That's what they call it, API or something, in the UK, which is equivalent of the PMI here. So you can always have a look at their own courses and go for their courses, but it's not at all necessary to have it. If you have the experience, yes, go for it. If you do not, it's absolutely fine.
Yeah. I think Ronit has raised his hand. Ronit, yeah,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can ask.
I want to like kind of bring out a proper question this time to you. So I can see there that you designed a sustainability assessment framework during your MSc project, right? And then you did the whole risk analysis and all of that. I can also see that one of the Network Rail's upcoming targets is they want by 2025, 75% of suppliers to have science-based targets as well. Are you working on something like that? And how would you ensure that your suppliers would meet science-based targets in the upcoming run?
So, so Network Rail basically works in control periods, yeah. So right now they are in a control period. They're basically business timelines, I would say. So a control period is a period of 5 years. So right now they're in control period 6 that lasts up to 2024.
Mhm.
So they've already put in place all of the strategic planning and strategic thinking and basically the blue sky thinking into it before 2019.
Mhm.
So they have made sure they've already got policies, because my project that I did during my MSc, it was to be implemented in 2029 or 30, I think.
Okay.
So that is the time frame they're already looking at in terms of their own strategy.
Mhm.
So I'm not really working with the vendor management or the supplier relationship side of it.
Okay.
But what they do is they have their own sourcing platform, which they then monitor and they use to really assess all their suppliers and do things around all of that.
Right. Do they have reviews on that as well, or is this a strategy that they formulate beforehand and then they push with it, and they expect the suppliers to kind of agree to it?
No. So because it is a PSU, so they have different obligations to all the local businesses and the government.
Yeah.
So they are very much accommodating with all of this. They invest heavily even in their suppliers. There's so many joint research projects that they do.
Yeah.
So it's not like a whip and lash culture, I would say. It's a very collaborative environment, and because it's a PSU, they have different commitments that they need to deliver before they can really expect value out of anybody. Because hey, we are all taxpayers, and the company is run by taxpayers' money.
One last segment of the question. So you did conduct a focus group during that part, and you had a lot of C-suites come up in that. What were the main pressing themes that you found out from the focus group? And if possible, if time allows, what was the method that you used to, conduct that focus group?
So we did purposeful sampling for selecting the executives for the focus group. Since the
Mhm.
project was a strategic one, there were many people very far up the food chain involved in the whole project.
Correct.
So it was interesting to see the director of fleet engineering turn up for the focus group review meetings. It was interesting to see so many program managers really getting involved and having a very open discussion and a nice debate in those sessions.
Mhm.
So um, yes, the focus group was a mix of people up and down the food chain, the people who can deliver strategies and the ones who would then implement all those strategies.
Mhm.
The main pressing themes are obviously around technology and deciding what sustainability would now mean to them. They have their own policies for sustainability. They've got their own
Mhm.
policies for carbon. But then, in terms of our project, in terms of our programs that they're running and how our project fits within it,
Mhm.
how are we to interact with all the stakeholders involved there? Because we had people from decarbonization team looking at our project. We had the people from environment and sustainability looking at our project. Safety is a very critical aspect to network rail. So we had people from the HSE and health and safety in general looking at us on our project. There were obviously uh, a huge investment from the engineers because it was energy storage. So they really wanted to ensure they are not investing in something that's not really anywhere near to the TRL scale.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, it was a nice experience for me as well, and it was a very high value proposition that we made to them, which was really nicely accepted.
I can understand that from the way that you're saying things. The focus group should have gone well because if everybody is participating, then that itself is a great sign of the start to focus group. Right.
Yeah,
Cheers. Thank you so much for your answers.
cheers. There's somebody else who's raised a hand. I'm not sure if we've got the time there.
Yeah, we can take up the last question. Chinmay, do you have any question?
I am really sorry to add another question here. It's just a small one. How
Yes.
significant is the Apex CPIM course in UK?
Apex CPIM. Uh, Apex is, I think, American, is it? Or is it
Yes,
British? It's American, yeah?
American. American, yes, but
Yeah.
the course is very popular across the globe and very recommended for supply chain graduates, you can say.
Yeah, of course. See, if it is any course that is charted, I'm just trying to recall what's the full form for CPIM. Do you know?
Um, just a second. Um, Certification in planning and inventory management.
Okay. So if you are into inventory management, if you are into a manufacturing firm that wants you to look after its inventory, or if you are into warehousing and you need to sort out their inventory and their current rolling stock and things like that, it would be a good certificate to have. But without relevant experience, it wouldn't be of great value. It would be pretty much just a certificate equivalent to your MSc.
Right.
Apex offers various other courses, which are, I think there's one chartered supply chain professional or something related to this. So what I would say is any chartered course that basically requires you the experience to get that certification is always far more valuable than just doing a certificate course. So there's two organizations in the UK. I think there's one is called CILT, the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport. There's SIPS, the Chartered Institute of Procurement. I'm not very sure about the S, but then yes, these two institutes, they offer you various courses that you can take up. Any course that is chartered, that is any course that would require you the experience to take up that course, is very, very, very valuable, I would say. If that answers your question.
Right. That was helpful. Yes. Thank you.
Cheers.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, with all these amazing questions, finally we come down to the end of the session. Thank you so much, Ajinkya, for giving us time and like going through all the queries that we have from the upcoming students. We're looking forward to meet you again in future, might be with more sessions. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you everyone for having me here today, and I hope to see you, almost every one of you, at the campus someday.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
the best with your journeys ahead. Cheers.
Thank you so
Take
much.
care. Bye.
Bye. Thank you all for joining in.